Tetairoa McMillan. Tetairoa McMillan, your newest Carolina Panther. Now, there are multiple ways you can view this pick. And in my mind, two things can be true. You can love the addition of a wide receiver and what Tetairoa McMillan can bring from a skill set, but you can still question if Dan Morgan and Dave Canales are doing enough to actually help turn the defense around. But let's lead off with what is first. And what is Tetairoa McMillan is a new weapon on your offense for Bryce Young. And that's, again, Tetairoa McMillan, he's a Carolina Panther. And Bryce Young has a rangy, big wide receiver with a big catch radius that he really hasn't had yet. Now, Dan Morgan said after they made the pick, yeah, they fielded some phone calls for 8, but ultimately they got their guy. And Tetairoa McMillan. And that's what Dan Morgan had to say last night.
Yeah, we did. We had a few calls. Obviously, you entertain everything, and, at the end of it, we wanted to get our guy, and we're excited about it.
Got their guy. Now, that guy, Tetairoa McMillan, a lot of experts and people might look and say he's a prototypical X receiver. For those who don't know what an X receiver is, they usually line up opposite of the tight end, right there on the line of scrimmage. And generally, they're really good at beating press coverage because oftentimes when you're lined up there on the line of scrimmage, if you have a man-to-man coverage with a cornerback, they're right up there in your face. You got to beat that press coverage from that defensive back. But he can be more than that. He's lined up in the slot. He's used in motion and really is a smooth route runner, comes out of his breaks real smooth, and he is pretty adept at getting free from defenders when he has the ball in his hands. He's not a super fast guy. He's far from the speed guy. I know some people were floating out there 4.48 40 time, which, okay, that's fine. But really he's in the 4.5s. 4.53, 4.54. That's what he is. Again, not a burner. But he showed some downfield playmaking ability and has, like I said, a big catch radius with large hands. And Tetairoa McMillan feels, this is what he said last night, he could take the Panthers offense to a whole different level.
Oh, man, I think it's going to be amazing. First things first, obviously, Bryce Young, Cali to Cali connection. That's immediately. And as well as, the other receivers, Xavier, Adam Thielen. And I feel like, our OC, Coach Isaac, will definitely, put it together. I know Coach Canales calls the plays, and, I'm confident in them, and they're confident in me. And, I'm just ready, to take the Panthers to the next level.
Well, yeah, I hope they're confident in you. They took you 8th. That's a lot. That's about as confident as you can get in somebody. Yeah, we're going to use the 8th overall pick on you. So, yeah, there's a high level of confidence there coming in. So how does Dave Canales use Tetairoa McMillan, along with last year's first-round pick, Xavier Legette, along with a guy who was a rookie undrafted free agent that really showed a lot of flash and potential in Jalen Coker, and that savvy veteran Adam Thielen? Dave Canales talked last night on Tetairoa McMillan's fit in the wide receiver room.
Yeah, shoot, you got like a basketball team going on right now. There's different attributes, and, Xavier, the power and speed he brings, Thielen's craftsmanship, you saw Jalen Coker come on strong last year. Tet all of a sudden brings in this really long, 6'4" target to kind of round out the group. So, it's a really cool group to think about, and I mean, obviously, like right off the bat, Brad and Rob come down the hall, and I'm like, all right, boys, here we go, and so pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's a big wide receiving group. Last night on Panthers Playbook, Chris Lee from WREL Sports and myself, we went live on Panthers Playbook. It's on our YouTube page, which, again, thank you all for subscribing and doing that. But I brought up last night, Tet's 6'4", 219 pounds. Xavier Legette at the Combine last year was 6'1", 227, ran a 4.39. Jalen Coker is a bigger guy than you think. He's like legit like 6'1.5", 6'2", right around like the 210, 215-pound range. That's a big wide receiving group. They don't have the 5'11", shifty guy. They got a group of big wide receivers. Hey, good look if you're a 5'9" corner trying to cover these guys. Now, question is, again, about the speed. Xavier Legette, as I mentioned a moment ago, ran the 4.39, but dealt with foot injuries last year. Even in the offseason after he was drafted, had a little bit of a hamstring tweak. So, we don't know what the full was he actually at full speed? But how is Dave Canales going to use Tetairoa McMillan? Keep in mind, in 2019, Max, the Seattle Seahawks drafted DK Metcalf. Who was the quarterback coach at the time and also spent some time as the pass game coordinator, Max, in 2019 with the Seahawks?
I don't know for sure, but I'm going to go with Dave Canales.
Dave Canales, that is correct. Gold star for you. So Dave Canales had a big wide receiver in DK Metcalf. Now, I'm not trying to compare the body types of Tetairoa McMillan and DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is, I think, from another planet in terms of how he's built. Now, he's in Pittsburgh right now, but was, I think, again, a unicorn from another realm. But the 1 year in 2023, when Dave Canales became an offensive coordinator with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who was his number one wide receiver? Mike Evans. Big, tall, rangy guy. Much longer much wider, much longer wingspan, much longer reach, but similar in terms of height, big body, great at 50-50 catches, ran like a 4.53, so similar speed to Tetairoa McMillan, but a bigger body type. So again, like I said, Metcalf, Evans, they're much bigger guys, but McMillan has a little bit more of a leaner frame, but he's not small by any means. 6'4", 219, 31.5-inch arms, 10-inch hands. So this feels like a Dave Canales influenced pick. To go along with Legette last year, which, by the way, I think was a Dave Canales influenced pick as well. Canales likes his receivers to be versatile. He has that big body as well. He likes guys that could do multiple things. And versatility is a word that Tetairoa McMillan used last night when talking to the media as well. We have seen in the NFL in recent years bigger wide receivers playing in the slot. Just look at when the Carolina Panthers last year played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, especially the first game. I was at the one at Bank of America Stadium, the game that went into overtime. And also when CeeDee Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys came in and played against the Carolina Panthers. Those guys lined up a ton in the slot. And maybe that's something that T-Mac, Tetairoa McMillan's nickname, that McMillan can provide when going against a slot corner or even going against a safety, depending on the type of coverage that the opponent's running. I like McMillan's odds in those matchups.
He's definitely versatile, and
yes,
he's so smooth too.
He really is. Again, he's not a speed shifty guy or burner, but he really is smooth in his route running. And again, I like those odds. And having that versatility is going to be big. And having a massive catch radius is important for Bryce Young. I like McMillan's odds in those matchups. And this could potentially unlock or help unlock Xavier Legette. It's an offense that will feature, again, third-year quarterback in Bryce Young. Now you have two second-year wide receivers in Xavier Legette and Jalen Coker. You have a second-year tight end in Jadeveon Sanders. You have a fifth-year running back in Chuba Hubbard. You have a fifth-year tight end in Tommy Tremble. You have a fourth-year left tackle in Ike Ekwonu. And then you add in Tetairoa McMillan as a wide receiver. While you also have in their primes under contract guards Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis. Overall, this offense is super young, and it's a young core with a offensive coordinator / play caller in Dave Canales that can grow together. And you have that savvy veteran Adam Thielen that kind of helps lead the way. But all that being said, while talking about McMillan, Carolina Panthers taking Tetairoa McMillan boosts the offense, there are legit questions about the defense, and those still remain.